Welcome to my channel Mintage Mysteries, where every coin has a hidden story. If you love discovering hidden treasures and uncovering coin secrets, you're in the right place. We're on a quest to solve the puzzles behind the world's most fascinating coins. From rare errors to legendary rarities, let's dive into the mysteries of numismatics. The 1984 Roosevelt dime is one small coin with a lot of history behind it. To understand why this dime looks the way it does, we have to go back to the time when it was first introduced. The Roosevelt dime was first issued in 1946, just 1 year after President Franklin D. Roosevelt passed away. His image replaced the earlier Mercury design, which had been used on the dime from 1916 to 1945. That design showed a figure that looked like the Roman god Mercury, but was actually a symbol of liberty. When Roosevelt died in 1945, there was strong public support to honor him in a meaningful way. He wasn't just remembered as a president who led the United States through the Great Depression and World War II. He was also personally connected to the fight against polio. He had suffered from polio himself and helped create the March of Dimes, a campaign that raised money to fight the disease. Because of this connection, putting Roosevelt's face on the dime was not only a tribute to him as a leader, but also as someone who inspired the nation to take action in the fight against illness. The dime's design was created by John R. Sinnock, who was the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. The front, or obverse, of the coin features a profile portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. Just below the neckline, you'll see the initials J.S., which stand for John Sinnock. Along the left edge of the coin is the word Liberty, a traditional element found on most U.S. coins. Under Roosevelt's chin, the phrase, "In God We Trust," appears, and on the right side, you'll find the date, in this case, 1984. Next to the date, you'll often find a small letter, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. This is called a mint mark and tells you where the coin was made. The back of the coin, or reverse, also has a carefully thought-out design. At the center is a torch, which represents liberty and enlightenment. On either side of the torch are two branches. The olive branch on the left symbolizes peace, while the oak branch on the right stands for strength and independence. Together, these three images reflect the values the United States hopes to represent: freedom, peace, and resilience. Around the top edge of the coin are the words United States of America, and at the bottom it says, "1 dime," clearly stating the coin's value. Across the lower middle of the design is the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. This refers to the idea that the United States is made up of many different states and people, but is united as a single country. By 1984, the composition of the dime had already changed from what it had been in earlier decades. From 1946 to 1964, Roosevelt dimes were made of 90% silver. But in 1965, due to the rising cost of silver, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition. That means the dime has a core made of pure copper, with an outer layer of copper mixed with nickel. This gave it the silver-like color, but at a much lower cost. The 1984 dime is made this way. It weighs about 2.27 grams and is 17.91 millimeters in diameter. Very small, but still full of detail. Millions of dimes were produced in 1984, mainly at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. These coins are common today and aren't considered rare or especially valuable in most cases, unless they're in perfect, uncirculated condition or part of a proof set from the San Francisco Mint. Even so, each dime represents a small piece of American history and design. The Roosevelt dime is a tribute not just to a president, but also to the ideas of leadership, unity, and the fight against illness. Its design has remained almost unchanged for nearly 80 years, showing just how meaningful it continues to be. The 1984 Roosevelt dime may seem like just another common coin in your pocket, but in the world of coin collecting, even a small and ordinary-looking coin can hold interesting secrets. At first glance, most 1984 dimes are not rare, and in circulated condition, they are typically only worth their face value of 10 cents. But for collectors and coin experts, certain features and conditions can make some of these dimes far more valuable than most people expect. To understand why some 1984 dimes are worth more than others, we need to look at how and where they were made. In that year, dimes were struck at 3 U.S. Mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The dimes made in Philadelphia carry a small P mint mark near the date, while those made in Denver have a D. These two types were made in large numbers for everyday use. Over 676 million dimes were struck in Philadelphia alone, and more than 546 million were made in Denver. Because of these high numbers, most of these coins are extremely common and easy to find. However, collectors look for more than just availability, they look for condition. A coin's condition, or grade, plays a major role in determining its value. Coins that are heavily worn from circulation are usually worth only face value. But dimes that have never been used, known as uncirculated coins, can be worth more. Grading is done using a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. A 1984 dime in mint state 65 or better, especially with strong luster and no visible scratches, is considered very desirable. In top grades like MS-67 or MS-68, the value can increase significantly, often ranging from several dollars to over $100, depending on how few coins are known at that level. Apart from condition, another important factor in rarity is mint errors. These are coins that were made incorrectly due to problems during the minting process. In most cases, error coins are destroyed by the mint before they leave the facility, but sometimes they slip through and enter circulation. In the case of the 1984 dime, collectors have found examples with off-center strikes, die cracks, double die errors, and clipped planchets. An off-center strike happens when the coin is not properly aligned during minting, resulting in a portion of the design being missing or shifted. A double die error means that part of the coin's design appears doubled, which can be seen in the lettering or details of the portrait. A clipped planchet occurs when a piece of the metal blank is accidentally cut off, leaving a curved or straight edge on the coin. These errors can be quite valuable, depending on how dramatic and visible they are. A major error in excellent condition can sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars to the right buyer. Then there are the proof coins, which were made at the San Francisco Mint. These coins are not meant for circulation and are made using a special process that results in sharper details and a mirror-like finish. The 1984 proof dimes have an S mint mark and were sold to collectors in official proof sets. While these are not rare in general, finding one in perfect condition, graded PR 69 or PR 70, can add value. A flawless proof coin may be worth several dollars or more, especially if it remains in its original case or packaging. In very rare cases, a proof coin might be found in circulation. This could happen if someone broke apart a proof set and accidentally spent the coins. These proof coins are not easy to spot at first, but they often have a shiny, mirror-like surface and more detailed features compared to regular dimes. A collector who finds a proof dime in pocket change would consider it a lucky find. It's also important to talk about population reports. These are records kept by professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC, which track how many coins they've graded at each level. If only a few 1984 dimes have been graded MS-68, for example, then those coins automatically become more valuable because of how few exist in such high condition. Even though the coin isn't rare overall, high-grade examples can be scarce, which drives up their price. In the world of coins, value is always a mix of condition, rarity, demand, and timing. Even a coin that seems common might surprise you if it turns out to have a rare error, a perfect grade, or an unusual history. Most 1984 Roosevelt dimes you find today will be worth just 10 cents. But with careful inspection, attention to detail, and maybe a bit of luck, you could find one that's worth much more. Whether it's a coin with a minting mistake, a proof that ended up in circulation, or one in pristine uncirculated condition, these are the kinds of details collectors are always watching for. So next time you find a 1984 dime in your change, don't toss it aside too quickly. Look at the mint mark, examine the condition, and check for any unusual marks or signs of an error. Even a small coin like a dime can hold unexpected value, and in the hands of the right collector, it might be worth much more than it seems. If you enjoyed today's exploration, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin discoveries, and share this video with fellow collectors. And as always, keep searching for those hidden treasures in your change. You never know when you might stumble upon the next big mystery.